Hey there, you're listening to BD4, where there's no better way to get your Yankees and Knicks analysis. Yanks every series, Knicks every game, and MMA on occasion. Here's your host, RJ Carbone.
And a high drive into left center field. Stanton's going to watch another one fly. Are you kidding me? Steven Chunto a three. Bang! Bang! Knicks take a
Take this chance to apologize to absolutely nobody.
At the wall. See ya! See ya! See ya! Mr. Nova.
Anthony for three. Bang! That one goes down and the game is tied.
Rose, you shook up the world again.
I did it again. But God did it, man. I really just have
Gonna have to. Brunson running away. Oh my! He has been the best player to put on that uniform.
Ball game over. Yankees win. The Yankees win.
All right. Well, the New York Yankees now have an opportunity, folks. They now have an opportunity. I don't know if I'm going to have the opportunity to make this podcast episode in video format because I'm still having trouble with my Surface Pro. Should probably get a real laptop to start recording these, but this might be audio only. We'll see how the video feed does, if it plays choppy or not. But the Yankees, didn't want to hear that. I don't know why I said that. The Yankees are 3 games back. They've got 3 games left to break a tie at the top of the division between them and Toronto. They have officially made things interesting. Man, have they. You know, this season began already in question, right? There were so many questions about the team at the top of the season. Would they be able to recover from what they lost? You know, losing number 22 to that other team in town. Losing Garrett Cole last second. Not having Luis Heel. You know, you find out Giancarlo Stanton's season might be in jeopardy. And this team had to go into the year with that on their back. A lot of it last second. Right in the middle of spring training. And they got off to a very hot start. They looked good. Like the first segment of the season is not usually telling of what you're going to get the rest of the way, but, you know, it made us comfortable. It's like, all right, we could take a sigh of relief because we have ourselves a nice, 6-game division lead. And then you get to the middle of the summer, and the Yankees really, really started to slow down, slump, and they did what they've been doing the last couple of seasons, as we got to head to a video, to audio only. And they just started losing games, and they couldn't get out of it. And they were one of the worst teams in baseball for a good stretch, a good couple of months, maybe 2.5 months. And, there was a lot of noise, right? Was Aaron Boone going to make it through? Should he make it through? Cashman taking some hits. You know, the usual overreactive stuff that Yankees fans do when they don't get their way. And it was ugly. And a lot of it was granted, the frustrations. But they've since responded. And I like to go back to, I think it was August 6th. You know, and the Yankees in their last 45 games since August 6th have the best record in the MLB. They're 31-14. It's a .689 win percentage. So the way I'm looking at it is this: it's like it's a season of 3 that they've had. Good start, tough summer, really good end of the summer/fall here as we get into October. And that's exactly what you want. You want to get hot at this point in time. But yes, as I've said, now the Yankees are making things interesting. You've got 3 games left to break the tie. Now, you had the first tiebreaker matchup last night. You lost that one, right? The Yankees won, but Toronto also won, so you couldn't get it then. But now you're going into a weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, the last 3 games of the regular season, where the Yankees will have Baltimore again at home in the Bronx for 3 games, while the Toronto Blue Jays will play the Tampa Bay Rays for 3 games. So it's going to be very interesting. Obviously, with the 2 teams tied, and I put that in quotes, with the Jays need to lose 1 and the Yankees need to win 1. So if the Yankees win 2 out of 3, they need the Jays to lose 2 out of 3. If the Yankees sweep, well, they just need the Jays to lose 1 game. The Yankees, you get the point. We're right there. So it's not something I'm trying to get my hopes up for. But the Yankees clinched the playoff spot officially on Tuesday with that win, and they clinched a top wild card spot last night in the 3rd game of the set. So whether it's the divisional round or, and I still think most likely the wild card round, the Yankees will have home field. They've got, let's say they go to the wild card. And it's probably going to be Boston who they play in that wild card. The Yankees will have games 1 and game 3 home. So that's a win. That's a major plus. You don't want to be playing at Fenway Park in a series that decides whether you get into the postseason or not. The real postseason. But yeah, the Yankees are red hot. They have won, again, 31 of 45, but 5 in a row. Red hot rotation. Kind of a red-hot bullpen and a red-hot lineup. It's everything you want entering this time of year. The confidence in this team is surging. They look like they're confident. I'm fully back in. I'm ready. Yes, it sucks that it's most likely going to be a wild card team, but you never know at this point. So that's what we got. With that said, let's talk about this series where the Yankees took the sweep. They sweep the White Sox in the Bronx. And this series began back on Tuesday, where the Yankees won in thrilling fashion 3-2. Didn't look promising to start, I will say that. The Yankees were playing some more Boone ball, right? They were playing like children again to start this game. Really in the middle of the game, it got ugly. Like bottom 5, Ben Rice gets caught trying to stretch a single to a double. Top of the 6th inning, you have that fly ball that drops between Judge and Grisham. That eventually led to that 2-run home run to give Chicago the lead. Ugly. Can't happen. Bottom 6, Jazz Chisholm gets picked off between 1st and 2nd while the Yankees are down 2-1 for the 2nd out. Just some really ugly, disgusting stuff. But, their bats eventually woke up. In total, just 3 runs on 11 hits, 10 singles, 7 walks, so they were getting on base a ton. 12 strikeouts, 3 for 9 runners in scoring position. Again, for most of the night, they were horrendous heaps of sewer trash. That's what I had on my notes. But bottom of the 1st inning, they had a chance. They had 1st and 3rd with 2 outs. Stanton strikes out looking. 99-mile-an-hour fastball that clipped the bottom of the zone. Bottom 2nd, the Yankees put 4 men on base. They only get 1 run out of it. It's a Wells double. And then they had 1st and 3rd with 1 out. Grisham strikes out swinging. He gets a fastball middle of the plate. And then with the bases loaded, 2 outs, Bellinger with a weak pop-up. It's another fastball middle of the plate. Bottom 3, Jazz with a 2-out single, but Ryan McMahon can't get it done. A weak fly out to left field. Needs to start pulling the baseball. Bottom 4, Grisham draws a 2-out walk, but Judge flies out. Bottom 7, you had a man on first with 1 out. Judge grounds into a tough inning-ending double play. Bottom 8, first and third, 2 outs. Rosario with a terrible at-bat. Just a terrible at-bat. Striking out, looking at a fastball right down the plate. But then, as the Yankees are down, bottom of the 9th inning, they have first and second with nobody out. And, or they weren't down. Did I say they were down? They were tied. They go to the bottom of the 9th, tied. First and second, nobody out. Grisham then rolls into a double play. So that eventually makes it first and third with 2 outs. Volpe's at the plate. It's not looking good. It's looking like the Yankees are going to officially end their division chances. But I forget who it was on the mound. Throws a wild pitch. Hits the backstop. Anthony Volpe comes around to score. Ties the ball game. So it did tie the game. It was 3-1 at the time. Or it's 3-2 at the time. Volpe scores. Ties the game at 3. And that's when Jose Caballero comes to the plate with a chance to walk this thing off. And just a terrific at-bat. An outstanding 9-pitch at-bat where he did miss a couple of fastballs, but he did a nice job spoiling some pitches. He was spitting on a couple of pitches. And finally, on the 9th pitch of the at-bat, he goes down and he gets a sweeper low and out. Sticks the bat head out, and it's a bloop that found grass. Shallow center field. Really good effort there by Michael Taylor to not dive. I mean, come on. And that sent the Yankees to the October dance. Officially clinched their postseason ticket. So, Jose Caballero with the big-time hit there. But, you had Rice go 3 for 4 in this game. Jazz goes 3 for 3 with a walk, stolen base, also caught stealing, as we said. Volpe 2 for 4. Wells goes 2 for 4, double and an RBI. On the mound in this ball game was Luis Gil. And it was more the same storyline. Stuff versus results. Again, no velo on the fastball. It's at, low 90s again. No whiffs and more walks. And that's a bad formula. He finishes 6 innings, 3 strikeouts, 2 walks. So, on the year for Luis Gil, 52 innings, 39 strikeouts. That is not the guy the Yankees saw last year. You go on his StatCast page and the numbers back up what you're seeing. The chase rate, the whiff rate, the K rate, it's all down significantly. Matt Blake has been talking about this. He's saying it's more of an off-season project that we're going to have to work on, which is why the Yankees are officially going with Cam Schlittler Game 3. I shouldn't say officially, but unofficially, officially. But yeah, it's more of the same stuff. Like, sure, the run prevention continues to be there with Luis Gil. He only gave up 2 runs in those 6 innings. But it's more of a how long is this going to last type of thing. Because right now, the results that we're getting from Luis Gil, let's be honest, a lot of it is luck. It's not like if he's not dominating with the overpowering fastball, and he's not a guy who's painting the edges out there and he's commanding everything. When you're watching Luis Gil out there, you're not seeing him pitch like Maddox. No, he's not doing that. He's throwing 92 miles an hour in zone. And it's just finding glove. So the idea was that he's throwing slower so he can command better, but he ends up walking more guys than he ever has while getting the least amount of swing and miss with the lowest fastball velocity that he's ever had. So it's been worst case scenario in terms of his stuff. And that's what's concerning to me. So hopefully it's something they can figure out so he's back to full strength next season. Or just obviously can be productive in the playoffs for them. That was Tuesday. Big win. The Yankees crushed the White Sox on Wednesday 8-1. The game started out very nightmarish for the Yankees. They had the bases loaded, nobody out in the first inning. And they get nothing done. Stanton, Rice, Goldschmidt pop up in 2 strikeouts. They couldn't even put the ball in the play. Bases loaded, nobody out, you get nothing. Chicago ends up getting a run in the top of the second. So you're thinking, here we go. Yankees start playing some more sloppy defense. But then they got it together because their lineup is really good, guys. 8 runs, 10 hits, 6 extra base hits, 5 walks, 9 strikeouts, 2 for 10 in scoring position. Bottom of the second inning, down 1-0. The Yankees get 3 because Aaron Judge steps to the plate and hits a huge 3-run shot to give the Yankees the lead. It's his 50th of the year at the time. It's 3-1 New York. Bottom 3, Goldie with an RBI single, Jazz with an RBI double, and it's all of a sudden 5-1 Yankees. And then Grisham and Judge go back-to-back in the 8th inning. Judge is 51st. Grisham's got 34 on the year. It's 8-1 Yankees. Judge goes 3 for 4. 2 homers, a walk, 4 RBIs. Also made a strong throw in right field in this game. 85-mile-an-hour throw. It's the hardest we've seen him throw since coming back to right field from the injury. Wasn't a great throw, but just nice to see the arm strength tick up about 10 miles an hour. Grisham goes 1 for 3, the homer, 2 walks, 2 RBIs. Rice 1 for 4 with a triple. Bellinger 1 for 4 with a walk. Volpe 1 for 4 with a double. On the mound in this game, Max Fried got the start, and we're going to tip our cap to Max Fried because he was the best starter in this series. 7 innings, 1 run, 4 hits, 2 walks, 7 strikeouts, no runs, 107 pitches in the win. So Max Fried finishes his first regular season in pinstripes phenomenally. A fantastic first regular season. 32 starts, 195 in the 3rd innings. Everybody was worried about that part. Everybody was concerned about his durability. How would he hold up? Held up pretty well. Went 19-5. Just missed the 20-win mark. Struck out 189 batters and 195 in the 3rd. Posted a 2.86 ERA. A 110 whip. You look at Max Fried's season. He also had 3 different parts of his season, right? He got off to that red-hot start where he had a 192 ERA through his first 17. Then he went through that midsummer struggle where, was it the blister, whatever, where it is 680 through the next 8. But since then, he finished very strongly, posting a 155 in his last 7. So Fried finishing with a 286, 195 in the 3rd innings. The 3rd time I'll say that. That's the important part. That's an ace. Big lefty. Logs innings. That's CC Sabathia. You were hearing some of those comparisons on MLB Network a couple of days ago. They signed him in the offseason. Led them to a championship right away. You're hoping Max Fried can kind of take that same path. So he finishes with 18 tips to the cap in the regular season. That's the most on the Yankees. Led the team this year in tips of the cap. We talked a lot about Fried in our last episode. Also, there might be a recent blog coming up. I'm going to try to get one out this weekend, if not tonight, about Max Fried. So stay tuned for that. We'll talk more pitching when it comes to Max Fried. But yeah, he got the win. And then yesterday, the Yankees win 5-3 over the White Sox. Rodon got the start. 6 innings, 3 runs, 4 hits, a walk, 5 Ks, hit batter, home run, 82 pitches in the win. Not good, but he did enough, right? Top 2. Obviously, he immediately gives the run back to Chicago. Vargas with a leadoff single. Not a terrible pitch, but then he hits Teal with a pitch. Gives up the sack bunt to move runners over. It was Michael Taylor who laid it down. And then Jolks comes up to the plate, and he gives him changeup middle of the plate. 98-mile-an-hour sack fly. That plates a run. Top 4, he gives them the lead. Vargas draws a 1-out walk. You can't be walking some random Chicago White Sox bum. That really bothered me because eventually it led to a 2-run shot from Taylor, and he left 94 middle of the plate. So, you got to take care of bum players. But regardless, he finishes strong, and again, Carlos Rodon, we wrote about him in our blog recently, so definitely check that out on bd4blog.wordpress.com. Again, definitely go to bd4blog.wordpress.com because I want to give my respects to Carlos Rodon for just such a strong third season in pinstripes. And I think what's been really important for Rodon this year and last year too has been developing a pitch mix for righties, so he wasn't just fastball, back foot slider all the time. But adding in a changeup, which has led the way. But throwing that sinker in there occasionally, mixing in a curveball for a strike. That's all become super useful against right-handed bats for him. That's the big difference. So Rodon finishes his third season in pinstripes, 18-9. 3.09 ERA. Couldn't get it below 3. I would have loved to see two Yankees with a 2-something ERA. Nonetheless, nobody else in baseball has two starters with a sub 330. So the Yankees are the only team, at least among qualified starters. 18-9, 3.09 ERA, 195 in the third innings, 203 strikeouts. That's what he does in a 105 whip. We said it all last year. Rodon's going to eat innings and punch tickets. But this year has been an even greater step into becoming the ace that we paid him to be. Obviously, we want to see him do it in October. And he was fine last October. Mixed bag. But this year, he's got to step up. They need these two guys to be at the top of their game without Garrett Cole. So far, they've been. The Yankee bats in yesterday's game get 5 runs, 8 hits, no home runs, 7 walks, 8 strikeouts. They go 2 for 13 in scoring position. Bottom of the first inning, the Yankees get 1 run with the bases loaded, nobody out. It's a Ben Rice weak-ass ground ball out for an RBI. Stanton strikes out swinging after that. Jazz Chisholm with a lazy ground ball to first base after that. And they had a chance in the bottom of the second. First and second, 1 out in a tie game. Grisham and Bellinger with weak groundouts. Making Davis Martin, I think, who was on the mound, look good for a little bit. They go down without any life, 1, 2, 3 in the third and fourth inning. But they finally break through against Martin in that bottom of the fifth, where they load the bases with 1 out, and the bullpen's in. Stanton with a massive go-ahead, bases-clearing double past third base. Should the third baseman have made the play? Sure. It was a hard-hit ball. Stanton drives 3 runs in with that double there to make it 4-3 Yankees, give them the lead so they keep their division chances alive because Toronto won 1,000,000,000 last night. Bottom 7, Wells, big tack on RBI double. So that was your offensive production yesterday. Really nice game in left field also, by the way, from Bellinger yesterday. Just nice glove work, nice range. Really, really nice plays, and he continues to be outstanding defensively. But yeah, man, I'm getting excited. I'm starting to get excited for this lineup. What they could do in October this year. Listen, I have spent a lot of time this season on the podcast pushing back against a lot of narratives regarding this lineup. One of the narratives that continues to bother me is the narrative that the Yankee bats are very home run or bust. That couldn't be further from the truth, at least statistically. I know sometimes it can make you feel like that, but all stats are confirming what you see, right? And the Yankees are first in home runs, so they're hitting for power. That's a good thing. 266 home runs is a good thing. That's never a bad thing. They're also, folks, they're first in walks, so they're getting on base. They're fourth in sac flies, so they're producing runs via contact outs. They're seventh in stolen bases, so they're getting into scoring position using their athleticism. So that's not exactly home run or bust to me. And so I dug into it because Kay mentioned it on the broadcast, and it made me want to dive deeper in and actually figure this out. So I had time yesterday at the end of the night, and I did a little research, and I went into all 30 teams and tried to figure out, by looking at every 30 team's game log, and where did the Yankees stand in terms of winning games when they don't hit home runs. And so by doing this research, I found that the New York Yankees, the home run or bust New York Yankees, have the third best record in Major League Baseball when they do not hit a home run. That also doesn't include yesterday's slate of games where the Yankees won without hitting a home run yesterday. So I'll say that one more time for any 70-year-old man who still thinks that narrative reigns true. The Yankees this season have the third best record in Major League Baseball, meaning that just 2 teams do it better when they don't hit home runs. So I'll let that narrative rest there. Let's stop acting like power is bad in the Big 2025. Okay, small ball doesn't win no more, guys. Small ball won in 2015. And even that was an anomaly year. Yes, now there are some complaints about the Yankees situational hitting this year. They're so home run or bust. They don't hit with runners in scoring position. I to be honest, I don't even know what their runners in scoring position numbers are this year. You know why? Because I don't need to care about it since they hit home runs. Runners in scoring position doesn't matter as much for a team like the Yankees because they can just change the game with a swing of the bat. You can go 2 for 11 with runners in scoring position, but if one of those 2 hits is a home run, there's your offense right there. One swing of the bat with runners in scoring position on this team is anywhere from 2 to 4 runs alone right there. This is not a small ball team because this team is built to thrive in this era. The best part of this team is that they have a blend of a little bit of everything. They can beat you with small ball when they need to. But like everybody on this team, what I like about this Yankees roster is that everyone here has a niche. You know, everybody on this Yankees 26-man roster is good at something. If you look up and down, nobody sucks at everything they do, right? You can go from the top of the roster to the bottom. Like Jason Dominguez, I know he's not getting a ton of playing time this year, and his rookie season might not be what a lot of people hoped. It's been okay. He is thriving in the role that he's been demoted to. He's been an elite pinch runner. His base running has been excellent because of his speed and his athleticism out there. He's been thriving in that pinch running role. He scored the Yankees a run last night. Even the non-stars, like you go to the bottom of the roster, Ryan McMahon has been an outstanding glove at third base. Big difference than what we had in the first half of the season. Ahmed Rosario can mash left-handed pitching. Jose Caballero, the speed in the glove. You know, they've got the guys that you need to win. Those guys that aren't going to make the headlines. They don't have any useless players. Now, maybe you could say, you know, Anthony Volpe has been kind of useless this season because the shortstops dropped off. But even him, he's hitting lately, right? I think if there's one weakness with this lineup, it's the bottom of the order. But again, that's kind of normal for every single team. The bottom of the order is the bottom of the order for a reason. You know, I think this October, I think it's going to be important for the Yankees to get 1 or 2 of like Volpe, Wells, McMahon, and Caballero producing. You know, if you get 1 or 2 of those guys hitting just at an average clip, it's big. You know, when Volpe gets a day or 2, he produces every single time. We talked about this in last episode. This is why the platoon between Volpe and Caballero needs to keep happening. In Volpe's last 7 games, which all came after sitting in that Boston series. Now, this is entering last night, so it's not updated from the 0 for 4, but .375 average, .923 OPS. 3 doubles, couple walks, couple stolen bases. He's crushing lefties. He's been playing good shortstop again. The throws are reaching the bag. He's charging balls. Austin Wells has been hitting for a minute now. His last 22 games, including last night, .306 average, .954 OPS. He's putting together better at-bats. His chase rate is way down this month. The walk rate's back up to average. He's getting really good wood on the ball. Got that nice swing with, just connects well, and he lifts it in the air, and he's able to use all fields. You could see the hit tool in Austin Wells. He's having a solid season when you consider he's a glove first. Sorry. He's having a solid season when you consider he is a glove first catcher. You know, when you realize he's not going to be Cal Raleigh, all right, and hit 60 friggin' home runs, but he's an elite framer who can block balls well, and he calls a very good game. And when you compare, when you add that to just enough production offensively, he's a 3-WAR catcher. That's good. You know, he had 21 home runs this year, 70 RBIs. He's got a 719 OPS. So the production's there. What's not there is the consistency, right? That's been the problem really throughout his career. But this year, the OPS is carried by his slugging, right? It's the home runs and the doubles that will get the OPS over 700. It's the on-base percentage part of the OPS that's been bad. That's the consistency we're talking about. It's the low 200s average. It's the high 200s on-base percentage. The walk rate's been below average this year as a whole. The chase rate's up. It's the consistency that's not there. He's not getting on base the way you want him to. So, as a whole, I feel like Austin Wells is doing the opposite of what he did last year, and that's huge. He's getting hot at the right time. So hopefully he can go into October looking like he's looked in September here. And that's a fine hitting catcher. You know, you go to someone like Jose Caballero, who you can't expect him to keep hitting like he's been. I do hope he gets more starting reps this series. I would expect him to start tonight against Trevor Rogers, the lefty. So I would expect him to be in there at least once this series. You know, I know Ryan McMahon's not hitting. The bat's been atrocious with the Yankees. He needs to start pulling the ball in the air more. This is a guy who's 95th percentile in exit velo. You're a lefty inside Yankee Stadium who hits the ball very hard. What are you doing not pulling the ball in the air? You know, I feel like he's getting under it a bit too much. Second highest under percentage in his career. He's getting under the ball a lot. So if he can start fixing that approach, make some tweaks in the mechanics, whatever it is, I'm no hitting coach. But get him back to pulling the baseball so he could just display more power than he has with the Yankees so far. But the glove, with Ryan McMahon's glove, has been outstanding. He's been a vacuum over there. He moves very well. He makes solid throws. He covers a lot of ground at third base. He's been excellent there. I can't complain about the glove. So, again, if the Yankees can just get contributors, a couple of contributors from that, you know, those 3-4 guys at the bottom there, huge, because you know the talent's there from 1 to 7, from 1 to 6. It's the deepest lineup in the game. So you get some of the lower of the ordered guys, some of the lesser known names just being there for you. This team can go a long way. And obviously, at the end of the day, the Yankees need Aaron Judge to be Aaron Judge, because the best right-handed hitter of all time, if he becomes mere average in the playoffs again, then none of this matters. But I'm going to tip my cap to Judge in this series because he was the best Yankee position player. We have tipped our cap to the captain 13 times so far this season with 1 series left, so that's the most among position players, and the second on the Yankees overall to Max Fried. But this series, here we go, Aaron Judge, a .556 average, 733 on base, 1333 slug, and a 2067 OPS. I feel like nobody's talking about that. That's normal. That's a normal series for him. You know, it's funny because he has that series and you know, you hear in the telecast and people talk about he's getting back to himself. Like that's his self. It's crazy. His last 23 games. Ready? Judge's last 23. 543 on base, 787 slug, 1330 OPS. It's MVP stuff, folks. He's batting 330 on the year. The OPS is 1,100 something. 51 home runs, 110 RBIs. Just about. He's an MVP. He's the American League MVP to me. But I could care less. I couldn't care less to really dive into the whole specifics of that Cal versus Judge thing. I know people are going crazy over it. We're in the Bronx here. We do this shit in the postseason. That's what we care about. This is not Seattle. We don't care about regular season individual awards. So I want Judge to get a World Series MVP. That's what I want. But Judge comes through with another big series, so good for him. We tip our cap to him. We'll tip our cap to Luke Weaver as the best Yankee reliever in this series. Luke Weaver, tipping our cap to him for the 8th time this year with one series left. Pitched in 2 of these games, 2 1/3 innings, no runs, a hit, a strikeout. Good to see. Listen, Luke Weaver has had more of an up and down year, but if they can get him right, obviously as one of their more reliable relievers, that's where it starts in that bullpen. But the bullpen's been figuring things out, man. You know, it's been, obviously, the bullpen's been bad all year between the walks and, you know, the meltdowns, the losses they've been handing the Yankees, etc. It's been bad. They tried trading for a brand new bullpen at the deadline. You know, Jake Bird winds up in AAA for now. Camilo Doval wasn't good. The rest of the bullpen was still pretty brutal outside of David Bednar. The one thing has remained. You look at the bullpen, and you always say, every time I look at this bullpen, I'm like, why aren't they good? Because the talent is there. They've got insane stuff inside that bullpen, especially some of these guys they brought in post-deadline. You know, the Yankee bullpen has the stuff to do it. And, you know, for the record, they've been on fire lately. Weaver has a 0 ERA in his last 5. Cruz hasn't allowed an earned run in his last 5. Camilo Doval hasn't allowed an earned run in his last 5. Devin Williams hasn't allowed an earned run in his last 8. And we know David Bednar, in 20 games as a Yankee, has a 2.38 ERA. So you go to the bullpen. In their last 8 games, the Yankee pen 23 2/3 innings, 1 earned run, 0.38 ERA, and they're 3rd in WAR. I know they're facing atrocious competition during this 8-game stretch: Minnesota, Baltimore, Chicago. But again, the talent is elite on paper, so I'm not going to act like the Yankee bullpen can't be elite for an 8-game stretch. During that same 8-game stretch, what you like to see, 29% K rate, 9% walk rate. That's been my whole thing all year, right? Attack the zone, stop screwing around, stop obsessing and trying to get chase all the time, be more in zone. Keep the ball out of play, keep traffic off the bases. That's the key. League average for K rate is 22%. League average for walk rate is about 8%. So if you're striking out guys like the pen can at an elite rate, just keep that walk rate average to above average, and that's the key. Devin Williams, thriving right now in a high leverage role again. I would expect him to be used in those types of situations in October. Obviously with him, his fastball command and velocity is going to depict how that screwball will play. Luke Weaver, I would expect him to be used in that high leverage 7th, 8th inning role in October. He's been attacking more with his changeup lately, which is a good thing. I feel like he was a lot more reliant this year on his four seam. The slugging percentage on the four seam fastball jumped 90 points this year from where it was last year. So kind of more predictable. Fernando Cruz, hitting a rough patch, but he's kind of figuring it out lately. The forkball's looking a lot better. That's what he's going to have to be. In the playoffs, they're going to call on him when they've got obviously a free base open because they know he walks the guy. But when you got a guy on second or third or second and third, that's Fernando Cruz's lane. Come in, throw that forkball to get a big strikeout for us. Keep the ball out of play. That's going to be his role in October. David Bednar, obviously, just been electric with the Yankees in that closer role using his 3-pitch mix. Tim Hill, I expect him to be used situationally for lefties when they need ground ball outs, double plays. Camilo Doval is interesting to me because I don't think he's going to be used a ton in the postseason, but I do think you will see him. And as we've said a bunch of times, I think he is pretty key. His stuff is too good. He's got such a tough arm slot to pick up. I think those are going to be your main guys. Like, I think your core four. I think your core four relievers will be Williams, Weaver, Bednar, and Cruz. And I think, again, Hill is going to be used in certain spots. And I think your last resorts in high leverage, it's going to be like choosing between Camilo or Leiter Jr., right? So those guys got to just be good. And again, being good in the regular season doesn't mean you'll be good in the playoffs. Being bad in the regular season doesn't mean you'll be bad in the playoffs. Look at Mark Leiter Jr. last year. You just have to get these guys right at the right time. But yeah, the Yankee formula here is you hope that Fried and Rodon can give you 6, and then you go to your core guys after that. And then game 3, if it's going to be a Schlittler in there, you hope he gives you 4 or 5. And then, we'll see what the Yankees do. It's like a piggyback situation. Do you see Warren come in? Luis Seal, Yarborough, do they use him to eat some innings? Whatever. But that's pretty much it, folks. I'm ready. One more series before we get to the postseason, and hopefully the Yankees can take care of the division here. Getting the Eastern Division will be just awesome for me. I don't expect it. I'm keeping my hopes low. This way I'm not disappointed when they don't get it, but hey, you never know. Going into the postseason, having to play a wild card series makes it significantly tougher to win a World Series. We know the numbers on that. They're not pretty. Texas did get to the World Series a couple years ago and win. They were a wild card team, I believe. Texas, Arizona, wild card. So we'll see. Hopefully the Yankees can get the East. 3 more against Baltimore and the Bronx this weekend. Take care of business. Just win. Sweep. Win out. If you win out, you got a chance. You got a really good chance. Because the odds are Tampa might take a game. They're scrappy. So how about the Yankees just sweep? That's the formula. Win. Just win, baby. Al Davis. Appreciate you all. When we return from our final break, I was going to say break, because I don't think we've had a break yet. When we return from our break, we will wrap this up with our trivia question of the day. Stay with us. Be back in just a minute.
Quick break here, guys. Stay connected with BD4 on social media. Follow us on Instagram and X at BD4Pod, and find us on Facebook by searching BD4. Don't miss out. Join the conversation. Want more BD4? Subscribe to our YouTube channel and never miss an episode. Hit that like button, drop a comment, and share with your fellow fans. Don't forget to ring that bell so you're always the first to know when a new video drops. Love BD4 but don't have the time to sit down and watch? Don't forget to subscribe on Apple Podcasts and Spotify so you never miss an episode. And if you're enjoying the show, leave us a 5-star rating and a quick review. It helps us grow and keeps the conversation going. Want everything BD4 in one place? Head to our website at BD4blog.com. You'll find links to every podcast platform, social media, and even our blog, where we dive deeper into all things BD4. Check it out now and stay connected.
Okay. Sorry. Here's our trivia question for this episode here, episode 903 of BD4. Our trivia question, we'll do a Max Fried one. Max Fried's 19 wins were the most by a Yankee since which pitcher in 2018? Pretty easy one. So I'll add how many did he have? All right, so it's kind of a two-parter. Max Fried's 19 wins were the most by a Yankee since which pitcher in 2018? How many did he have? All right. So let me know the answer wherever you can reach me. Folks, I appreciate it all. I always do. And we're going to wrap this one up right here. Hopefully the Yanks can take the East. We'll see. I'll see you in the next show, folks. Appreciate it. Well, if you made it this far, that means you listened to or watched the entire episode. Thank you. Just remember to follow, subscribe, download, rate and review, and all that fun stuff to help out the podcast. And I will see you in the next episode of BD4.